Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Bay Area Content Marketing Meetup. Today, we're talking about the new AI video playbook. I'm going to introduce our speaker. Jon Leland is a longtime video pioneer, content strategist, and AI creativity guide. Over a decades-long career, he's helped organizations and individuals use emerging media to tell better stories and connect more meaningfully with audiences. Jon is the creator of the AI Over 50 Guide and a frequent speaker on AI, creativity, and modern storytelling. Jon, thanks for joining us and take it away.
Dennis, thanks so much. I really like being here, and thanks everybody for showing up on a rainy day here in the Bay Area, if you're in the Bay Area. And so you can see my screen, I think, and you know, I love talking about this stuff, and part of what I think I can offer is to sort out the pieces. I came up with this name to call it the Playbook because there are obviously lots of different kinds of video and AI video in particular. There are multiple kinds, and it's moving at this breakneck speed. So let's talk about it. So the roadmap, the layout for today, what I'm going to do is talk hopefully about 40 minutes. I want to have as much dialogue and opportunity for questions and answers as possible. So I'm going to introduce some key AI mindsets, talk about what it means to understand the AI video landscape, and then walk through four different kinds of AI video, including some demos. I want to try and at least get you behind or under the hood of a few of them to see what they look like. I know that there's a very kind of, somebody's not muted. There's definitely a mix here in terms of some people that have gotten their feet wet with AI and other people that have no idea what I'm talking about when I talk about AI video. So I'm going to try and be as inclusive as possible and give you guys an orientation. And then I am next week going to be doing a live cohort of my Prompted to Create course and walk people through experiences with exercises. And I have an offer for you at the end so we can talk about that a little bit more. So I'm not going to walk you through my entire bio, but I've been at the leading edge, or a lot of people like to say the bleeding edge of new media and media innovation, literally since the 70s when I started one of the first narrowcast audience-focused radio networks. I've had my own creative services company since 1985. So 41 years playing with various forms of marketing communications with an emphasis on video. And in the 90s, I did a couple of videos. I did videos about the coming of the digital video revolution back then, which with a number of sponsors. And at that point, this phrase spanning the Grand Canyon gap between people and technology emerged. And so ever since then, I've considered myself something of an educational warrior. And the understanding that when new technology happens, there's a real need for education. And now with the AI boom, that need and the Grand Canyon gap between people and technology has actually widened. So that's why I end up speaking like this. That's why I end up doing courses. At the same time, I still have a small boutique agency, and I do marketing services and AI consulting and that kind of stuff. So that's real quick background. Just quick context about what I'm going to do in the next 30 or 40 minutes. I know that I have a tendency to be a fire hose, and I want to give you as much information as possible, but I don't really want to overwhelm you. I want to try and give you a framework, a structure, a way to understand AI video. I can't give you a comprehensive overview because I could spend hours on every one of these. And it's also not a hands-on training. I mean, that's the difference between something like this and doing the course where I can actually give you exercises and you can get your feet wet, get your hands dirty, and that kind of thing, which I think is really important. And I'll talk about that a little bit. So, like I said, I think the big context here is spanning the Grand Canyon gap between people and technology. And just because I can, I do. So why not animate that concept, right? So this is when I talk about visual literacy. I talk about take a graphic like that and why does it need to sit all the time? We now have really easy capabilities to make it animate. So, missing those opportunities is one of the things that I think people should be doing. Not missing those opportunities, I think, is really important. The other thing is, this is literally a tsunami. Oh, and you know what, Dennis? I think I'm going to reshare because I just need to make sure I turn on audio because I have audio. Share sound. Okay, we're back. So it is a tsunami. It's the other way to think about it, to me at least, is it's a runaway train. And likewise, I think once I scroll and there we go. So this sound generated by 11 Labs synced with the video automatically. You can hear that okay, right?
Yes.
Cool. Yeah, so, I'm walking my talk and making these things come to life. The concepts are big concepts, and it really kind of requires these kinds of visuals and video, in my opinion. So, key concept is that the toothpaste never goes back into the tube. We can talk about what we think about it. We can be uncomfortable with the degree of disruption. All kinds of feelings are appropriate and called for, but just because we don't like it doesn't mean we can stop it. And I do think it's a runaway train. I do think that the toothpaste never goes back in the tube. Like I said, I've been talking about media innovation for decades now, and the toothpaste has never gone back in the tube. It just continues to move forward. So what we know is that there's going to be massive disruption. Everything will change because of AI, just in the same way everything changed because of electricity. It's that degree. It's being built into everything as we move forward. What we don't know is everything else. I mean, it really is going to be a new world. Anybody that tells you what it's going to look like in 5 or 10 years, I think is making stuff up. Some visionaries are better than others, but nobody really knows how this is going to work, which I think is the reason that you need to start experimenting and playing, because you want to get out in front of the wave. You don't want to get smashed by the wave. So that's my strong recommendation. The other thing that needs to be addressed before we even dive into AI video is the issue of slop. If I didn't say this now, it would be probably the first question in the Q&A. Because you can make high volumes of content doesn't mean that you should. And it means that creative directors, our creative human skills, are more important than ever. And, this is a marketing group, so you all know that meaningful content, valuable content, useful content is what the customer wants. That's what creates engagement. So just creating with AI is not a solution, but creating intelligently is powerful. And there are new efficiencies and new kind of superpowers that are being made available. But again, stop the slop. This isn't about making more. This is actually about making better, but doing it on even a smaller budget. Does that make sense? So the imperative, Dennis and I were talking before we started, that some people in this group are laggards. Other people are experimenting. We had one of our people who introduced themselves talk about he's already created an AI video clone and started to experiment. The thing that's said over and over again is that AI won't take your job, but somebody using AI will. And you can think about it. If you were, a vice president or a president, CEO of a company, and you're hiring a new vice president of marketing, or if you're a vice president of marketing, you're hiring a new content marketing expert to join the company, would you hire the person that had AI skills, or would you hire the person that did not? It's a no-brainer question, right? I mean, it's a sort of rhetorical question, but that then says, are you going to be the person that has the AI skills, or are you going to be the one that doesn't? So I just can't recommend strongly enough getting involved and becoming familiar. And the other thing that I'm a huge advocate for, as I've kind of said already, but I want to emphasize, is that it's the human in the loop that makes the difference. AI has no intention on its own. It basically wants to please you. But your human creativity, your creative direction is what makes the difference. So it's a loop and it's a process when no matter which video tool I talk about, the process of creating is one where you prompt from the beginning, right? You come up with the intention. You say, what we're working on today is this. And then AI will generate a response. And then you get to say, oh, you did great. Or no, what about this? Or what happens to me a lot is it says something and I go, oh, that's a good idea. What about if we vary it and go that direction? And then AI gives you another response. And then you prompt and AI generates and you iterate, iterate, iterate in that way. But it's always the human interaction that's making the difference here and the difference between the slop and the creativity. So that is a fundamental concept, and a lot of people kind of get stuck in that one because they think that AI is like a toaster, right? You just put the bread in, you push a button, and boom, you get toast. And it isn't like that. It's this iterative process where you try something, you experiment, it might hallucinate, it might make a mistake, it might give you an interesting output that then you can make better. But it's always that collaborative human in the loop, AI, human, AI, human, AI, human. I hope that's clear because I think if you don't take that point of view from the beginning, one, our humanity gets lost, and two, you don't get results that are worth getting. So it really is this kind of crucial fundamental thing. I'll take a breath. Are we doing good? Is everybody good? Dennis,
All
we
good.
okay? All
Yep.
right. And you're watching the chat. Thank you. So the video landscape has a couple of key components, the AI video landscape. The first thing, and I learned this back when I did those video programs back in the early days of digital video, is that, in those days, digital video was not one thing. Now AI video is not one thing, just as AI is not one thing. And I'm going to talk about that now. When I talk about, so this is the framework for my course, which I'll talk a little bit more about later. But I look at the mind shift of how you make AI a partner, using AI for personal inquiry, using it for writing, using it for visual thinking, using it for, yes, video storytelling, and then making it a creative practice so that you live a better, more fulfilled, more creative life. So video is just a piece of it. It's this fifth one over here. But AI is this entire creative, collaborative, multimodal is the technical word, technology that can work with you in very personal ways as well as in the writing, visual, and then, and the other piece that isn't even here that we could do a whole other workshop on, Dennis, is marketing workflows, which is, happening these days. There's something called Claude Cowork, as well as other technologies that are automating the power of AI in collaboration, again, with us as humans driving the bus. But it's changing the entire game. I'm going to talk specifically about video, but I wanted to put video in its place. I did some work, in full disclosure, FilmSpark was a sponsor back when it was called Movie Flow of my Video Mojo podcast. And Mike, the founder, said this statement that I think is really important here, that going forward, look, now I'm going to be the prognosticator and look forward a year, 2 years, whatever the time frame is. We're not going to say, oh, that was an AI created video. We're just going to be using AI to create content, because AI will become the new tool the way the internet has become the new tool, or the way, digital video has become the new tool. It's going to be part of the fabric of how we work, the way Photoshop is a tool, for example. AI will be built into everything, or it almost already is. And so it is no longer going to be a discussion of, was that AI generated content? It's just content, and AI was one of the tools. So the other thing about just kind of laying the landscape is we used to do, this is how, I've been doing video for a long time professionally. And, it was like make a video project, develop a budget for whatever it is, have this multi-month timeline usually, book a bunch of fancy gear to do the shoot, a bunch of post-production equipment, and now all of that is happening in your personal computer, on your laptop, if you will, and in way shorter periods of time. So the last thing about the landscape is this marketing environment that we're creating into. And a couple key points that I just want to make about that. YouTube has become the new TV. People are watching YouTube as much as they're watching Netflix. I believe it's more now. So the original content that we can create as content marketers for our clients is becoming ubiquitous. And the social media networks that we often use to distribute content are rewarding video. So video becomes a real extra asset when you develop it. And people respond more. Not only is it getting better distribution because the social media algorithms, the algos are rewarding video, but the videos are more effective at engaging people. Even AI generated video is statistically getting more engagement. And then there's a whole other aspect of, because we can generate more variations, it's a lot less expensive to test ads. So you can test things in organic, or you can run multiple iterations through your advertising platform of choice. And the cost of doing multiple iterations of those ads, in some cases, like meta ads, is even, if you wanted to, will generate variations for you right within the ad platform. So this entire video marketing landscape, or the video marketing revolution, is moving in leaps and bounds, and AI is only part of that. But it's become much more viable to do video marketing than ever before. So that's the landscape. Let's look at the playbook in terms of what are these kinds of AI video that I'm talking about. The first thing that I need to say is the kinds are not distinct, right? They're mixed up. So right away off the bat, I'm going to show you some AI generated footage, but it's anyway. They cross reference. Not everybody probably knows what an API is, but an API is a application programming interface. So a lot of people, when they think about AI video applications, they think they need to go to OpenAI Sora or go to Google VO and use their app, and they end up jumping back and forth. I'll take a really quick demo for you. So this is a site called Higgsfield that I'm pretty fond of. If I go under video, you see that drop down, right? So all these are all different video generation engines that I can access right within this same platform. And I'm going to show you FilmSpark a little bit later, which also uses API so that you can get those same video engines within one app. So you don't have to be jumping around between all these other apps. And then AI video has also become ubiquitous, right? There isn't just one kind. We're seeing it in Super Bowl ads, for example. We just saw very recently in Madonna's concerts. It's basically everywhere. And so type one of AI video is synthetic footage, that we have the ability, that Jim Draper was on during the introductions. We did some synthetic footage for his documentary to use where historically things were not available. It basically is the death of stock footage, or the new way to use B-roll illustrations, kind of like within this presentation I'm showing you things. When you edit a video, B-roll is the footage that illustrates things. And it's just so easy to work with AI to generate footage. Why don't I just show you something? So now a lot of people are not aware that I'm within Google. Same, you see with Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Slides. There's also something called Google Vids, which is quite powerful. And I just have an example that I did here for you. I did this actually months ago. But this is a whole video app with the VO engine. And I didn't even write this script. So I generated this little graphic also right here in this app. And I just said I don't remember the prompt exactly, but roughly it was an enthusiastic video creator in a home video studio talking about how great AI video is. And here's 8 seconds that it generated.
This new AI video software is a game changer. I can't believe how powerful it is.
Now I didn't direct him. I just said enthusiastic and excited, something like that. So this is about as simple and basic as I could get. And we still have the ability, you can see down the right side, we have the ability to generate text, to do captions, to add stock footage, to upload, to record, to do a voiceover, to generate an avatar. So this is just one app, but I'm just showing it as an example of how easy it is to do a prompt. This was all generated off of a text prompt. Again, I didn't even write the script. AI wrote the script. So generating synthetic footage for basics. The other thing that, second type of video is AI-powered avatars. And these avatars can be like this cartoon character you see here on the right, or it can be photorealistic, and we're definitely getting to the point where people can't tell the difference between an AI-generated person and a real person. And that will continue to blur. So it gives you the ability to do more personalized content. The UGC ads have become a whole industry. And if you don't know what UGC is, I'll define it for you briefly. It's funny to me because it does have a little bit of history. When YouTube was new, people were all excited. Oh, users are going to generate content. UGC stands for user generated content. But it has been now co-opted, I guess you could say, or adopted by the advertising industry. And you see ads now on television, as well as in particular on TikTok and Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts, where real people become the spokesperson, as opposed to doing the old style TV ad. A mother in her kitchen is saying, oh, this is the new cooking utensil that I love, or this is the new machine, or this is the new vitamin, or this, whatever the product is. And so user generated ads refer to real people representing products. Well, now those real, quote unquote, real people or everyday people or non-actor looking people don't necessarily have to be people at all. They can be AI generated. And like I said, they're completely believable as the version of, middle-aged woman in Midwestern kitchen. You name the environment, you name the character. And then, like I said, you can test it. So you can create avatars for various ideal client or ideal spokespeople, and it is not expensive to test variations on that theme and find out, oh, it's the kid with the hoodie that actually delivers this product better than, the teeny bopper dancing down the street, whatever it is. So there are lots of applications for this. Hey Jen was mentioned earlier. Synthesia has really emphasized this. But as you saw, I just did a somewhat realistic character in Google's VO, and there are others as well. We're going to keep going because we'll get time for Q&A. So another example while we're with avatars, and I think I could play just a clip for you. So I want to talk from a marketing point of view about this experiment. And as I talked to Dennis earlier, we'll make this presentation available, and the link to this YouTube video is there if you want it. I did like a 6-minute, explanation of how I developed this character, Abigail. But very briefly, I worked within ChatGPT to develop marketing avatars, not video avatars, but who are the ideal clients for my Prompted to Create course. And this was last year when Prompted to Create was specifically for marketers. So Abigail fit one of those profiles that I created. I generated her as a still image and then went into HeyGen and created her as a spokesperson. And I'll play that video example. I've got her here queued up. Oh, look at this.
AI isn't just the future, it's already here, and it's changing how we do digital marketing. The question is, are you still just watching from the sidelines or ready to activate the power of these new, rapidly changing AI tools?
All of this was a really so anyway. That's me talking about it in that video that I just mentioned. So it actually became for me a really interesting marketing exercise because I not only created somebody that I thought I was speaking to with my course marketing, but also then brought her to life and could hear her speaking, and that gave me feedback, almost like doing a focus group. So there's value in doing these video avatars, even if you don't use them for marketing, just to give voice to your marketing plan. Here's another example. This was an affirmation that came out of a dream. When I talk about, I do dream work with ChatGPT, and that's another conversation. But I just took the affirmation that came out of the dream and had it voiced by a random video creator, not a random one, a synthesized video creator.
I am not just producing a course. I am crossing a threshold into a more fully expressed, creatively intimate version of myself.
So, for what it's worth. Let's see. So,
I am not just producing.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to play that again. Scroll thing. So the third type of AI video is AI enhanced post-production. And like I said, AI is becoming ubiquitous. So there virtually, I don't think, is a video editing application, whether it's Adobe Premiere, Apple's Final Cut Pro, CapCut or whatever. They all now have AI built into them in line. One of the apps that I use, my advanced thing is not working, is Riverside, and I do want to recommend Riverside. Riverside has grown up out of the podcasting business. They were originally doing audio podcast recording, and that does very high quality, higher quality than the Zoom recording, because it records to your hard drive while the interview is taking place. So this is me and that guy Mike that I showed you earlier from FilmSpark. And so we recorded it inside Riverside. And I'll show you under the hood here a little bit. My dashboard. Get out of there. I think this opens up. Yeah, this is my project inside Riverside for the Video Mojo episode that I recorded in Riverside and then used it for some of the post-production. Full disclosure, I do some polishing, but what it does is it does magic clips. Some people use an app called Opus Clips, but again, they're jumping around to different applications. It does a really smart job of pulling these clips for you. So, and then within the editor, so it does a really high quality job of recording. I do have edits here, but I'm going to jump on this demo. But the editor, well, let's see, I could edit this way to show you the editor real quickly. So this is, I believe, the full recording. Yeah, so we have a timeline like you would have in a normal editor. It automatically transcribes for you, so you do have transcript-based editing. It also automatically is generating chapters. It does do the summaries for you. And then one of the things I love about it is doing captions inside Riverside. So they have all these templates for the lower third captions that you can then also customize. So it goes on, but there's some really good AI built into Riverside, and it's great to be able to do this stuff in the same application that you record in, and it's really powerful. The other app, and this is probably the only affiliate link in the presentation. A lot of people use Loom for really quick video recording. I love Tela and its ability to move things around and do transitions and different layouts very efficiently. And so a lot of the YouTube videos that I'm doing now, I record them, if they're just me, I record them in Tele. And that's also a powerful application that's getting more and more AI built into it. Finally, the fourth type of AI video is what I call video storytelling. And that's where FilmSpark is the one that I'm most familiar with, but Higgsfield Cinema Studio is part of that Higgsfield app that I showed you earlier, or Higgsfield site. Weavy is another interesting one with node-based editing. But let me give you an idea about what I'm talking about with Spark AI. Like I said, they were a sponsor, and so it's actually a number of months ago I got under the hood with them. But what's great about it is that it gives you a story-based workflow where the characters are consistent, and you can also access the multiple models in one place like I told you before. So actually I have this launched, I think. Here we go. Yeah, so this is a project in my library. I'm going to back up to so you have projects, and then this workflow-based it's a workflow. So you develop the concept. This was basically a promo for the course. You can write a synopsis. It breaks it down into scenes. You can also refine the script, but where it gets really powerful are these assets. So I'm making a movie, and I've got a character of myself. I've got the character of the frenzied crowd, and then the character of this hopeful creator. And I can take those characters and then bring it into a storyboard that has this sequence that we start out with the frenzied crowd. Jon Leland shows up to save the day, and then it resolves in the end. So I broke it down, and then they have an editor where you can further refine your movie, and then you can export it, including with an XML file that can be read into Adobe Premiere. But it's this ability to work with a story that is not in most of the standalone video apps. So I believe that I have this video. So this is, again, something that I put together in a short period of time when FilmSpark was called Movie Flow. They changed the name and rebranded about a month ago. So it was about 40 seconds.
We've all had enough of hucksters hyping us to prompt this and prompt that. You've probably seen the flood. 10x your output. Hack the algorithm. It's exhausting and often empty. Now, there's a better way.
What if there was a way to begin simply, with your humanity still intact?
Come in from the storm. Let's learn by playing together. Because you don't need more hacks. You need your creative voice back.
So full disclosure, the titles were actually done in Riverside, and I did definitely do some polishing in Final Cut Pro. It wasn't 100% inside Movie Flow / FilmSpark, but the story was built and the components were created inside FilmSpark, or what's now called FilmSpark. So those are the four kinds. Again, it's the human in the loop that's the premium differentiator. Your human creativity, you being the creative director, that's what really makes the difference. And, what I want you to remember is that it takes kind of this whole village of AI components to really appreciate the power. And so this is the framework for my course. If you're interested in diving in deeper within a quick 3-week framework, this is an opportunity, and I've got a discount offer for you. But we're going to walk through each module with interactive exercises so that you can get the experience of it, not just the concept of it, right? When you play with it, experiment, that's how you really learn. So, let's see, where do I have that? Yeah, this is the course. So if you use the code CMBA, Content Marketing Bay Area, 15% off between now and Sunday. And we're going to start next Tuesday. I'll put the link. I did originally when we started, but you all probably don't have that. But when we get to the Q&A, I'll throw that link into the chat. But anyway, it's a 3-week cohort, Tuesdays and Thursdays for the next 3 weeks, starting next week. And Lee Doyle, one of the people that did the original course, she went from this head in the sand attitude, like, I just don't want to deal with AI, I don't like it, the change is uncomfortable, to getting turned on and excited. And actually, it's helped her get a new job, and she's fully on board now, or she says back in the driver's seat. So as I said at the beginning, I'm very open to one-to-one conversations. If you want to think about the course and you want to ask me questions, or really kind of just honestly explore whether or not it's for you, cal.com, Jon without an H hyphen Leland, and I'll put that link in the chat too. I really love doing one-to-one conversations, and I'm glad that I finished before 12:45 so that we can have good time for Q&A, because that's kind of really where it's at. But anyway, those are my links. You can also email me, Jon@ComBridges. I'm Jon ComBridges on the social. And the main thing is keep going no matter what. Experiment, have fun. And thanks again to Dennis and the organizers. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk. So
Thank you, Jon.
The floor is open for questions. Yep.
Yeah, we had a question from Jose about your course. I think you mentioned Tuesdays and Thursdays. He's asking what time of the day, Tuesdays and Thursdays.
I'm thinking 10 a.m., but I have not finalized it because it's going to be a small cohort, and we will do as much as we can to optimize it for the people that sign up.
Okay.
But in that vicinity, 10 Pacific. I don't know if you're in
Very good.
California or not, Jose.
And how long are the sessions? An hour, 2 hours, or how long?
They're gonna the meat of them will be an hour, and then there'll usually be an extra half hour for Q&A. I'm gonna present the modules on Tuesday, and then have a co-working Q&A, hand-holding, like, let's really get the stuff done on Thursday, because I know it's hard for people I know from my own experience, it's hard to get the work done. So it really is going to be a hands-on experience. So the Tuesdays will be more presentation, and the Thursdays will make sure everybody gets the work done together.
And Jon, could you describe the profile of the person that the course is designed for?
Well, it's a great question. Thank you. I want to put that link, so the link is in the chat there. I did it last year in association with the National Institute for Social Media, so it was really oriented towards marketers.
Okay.
I really, with the AI over 50 guy brand, I really wanted to brand out. It's designed for people that have been dragging their feet, I would say. It's like, it's not really for people that have been playing with AI full bore for the last year or two. But there are too many people that are being left behind by the revolution. And so it's for people that are willing to play, that want to experiment, but haven't gotten their feet wet. And the advantage of this, it's kind of like an intensive of walking through all the components of that framework within 3 weeks, and with these exercises and the work hours to get it done, so that people will move they'll get over the AI hump. That's how I've been wanting to say it. It's like a lot of people know things are changing. A lot of people know it's important, but they haven't really gotten their hands into the dough, right? And so it's for people that want to have a breakthrough with knowing what AI is and what it's capable of. And I think we'll walk away with this kind of new excitement. I'm excited about it, right? I love it. I love playing with it. I love processing my dreams, as well as doing all kinds of professional work with it. But you have to start exploring all these different dimensions to have an idea what it's capable of. A lot of people have only used AI like a fancy Google, and I use it as a fancy Google too. But that's like 10% of what's out there. When you start, using it personally, let alone using it for writing and knowing how to use it in writing so you maintain your own voice, how to generate images and the different opportunities with images, and how, actually make some images. The same thing with video, etc. It's like, so it's an experiential learning way to get into AI, especially if you haven't, kind of made that transition into really getting your feet wet. Is that clear?
That's clear. Question from Jonathan from the chat. What are some of the most popular software platforms where people generate AI videos? and what resources are out there to learn how to better prompt these AI video generators?
God, I mean, here's a tip. Well, I like Higgsfield as a place where you can, like I showed, explore and experiment with lots of different engines, right? We have these video models, and I don't think you should get stuck with one model. And I know whatever the latest one is, like right now, C Dance is very hot because the lip sync is really good. And I know that Higgsfield will have C Dance 2.0, within a week or two. And so I don't have to jump around and I already have a bunch of different platforms anyway. So I really want to try and stream that as much as possible. That was a multi-part question there, Dennis.
Oh,
Yeah.
the second part was what resources exist to help you better prompt these generators?
There are a bunch of resources, but the one thing that I can say very quickly that a lot of people don't do is to ask the AI how to prompt it. Like one of the things that I'm doing with some of the images that I'm creating now is I'm working both in ChatGPT and Claude, and I can ask either one to give me a prompt for an image for fill in the blank, whatever it is I'm working on. And it does a great job of generating great prompts. So and I had another great experience the other day. Like I said, Claude Cowork for marketing workflows is emerging as this extraordinarily powerful agentic AI. It's like an AI agent. And somebody was telling me about it, and I was going, oh, I need to learn about this. And they said, John, you should just ask Claude how to do the thing, because I had an idea for a project. And that's what I did. So if you're concerned about how to prompt better, ask the AI that you're working with, what's the best way for me to prompt you to create the image that I want to create? And it'll oh, no problem. Here, it'll give you a great answer and help you prompt better. And I think that is the most immediate, logical, powerful resource. Ask the AI.
And we have Jose with another question about the course. Jose, do you want to ask the question or do you want me to ask it?
Sure, I can ask the question. Yeah, I just wanted to get an idea of how many platforms are we going to learn in the course, and yeah, how many more or less, and which ones, if you can share. If not, that's fine. Just how many platforms to get an idea what workload we're gonna get. Are we gonna learn like one or two? Or are we gonna be focusing on one for video, this for this, this for that? So
I would say
just a
there are
general idea.
a couple in each of those modules. I mean, the ChatGPT and Claude, I would recommend if you're going to do the course, having a professional subscription to ChatGPT and Claude, $40, $20 each for a month if you're not already doing it. And we'll definitely look at a couple different image platforms and a couple different video platforms. Like I said, it's going to be a small group. And so I want to work with you depending on what your projects are. But I don't want to overwhelm you, and we're not going to try and do half a dozen video and half a dozen graphics. So there's just going to be a couple main ones. I mean, on the image side, Nano Banana Pro at the moment definitely seems to be head and shoulders above the rest. And I use Nano Banana Pro when I'm doing still images almost exclusively. I do it inside of Higgsfield because I know that next week it might be Google Sora or something else. So I'll still be able to work within the same platform. But is that answering your question? I mean, it's going to be focused and give you certainly a taste of an application or two in each area.
Got it. And I have just one more quick question about the program, because on the website it talks about the early bird registration, but we just missed it for a couple of
Yeah,
days.
I need to update that page. But you get the 15% is not quite, it's $75 instead of $100. So it's still
Okay,
close.
got it. Thank you.
All right, we have another chat question from Lindsay. Do you recommend any specific AI software tools for creating product videos without voiceovers, especially for product simulations or demonstrations?
I would definitely look at VO through Google Vids as a place to start. I also think it really depends on kind of like where you're at with it. But CapCut, which is it's owned by ByteDance, the same company that does TikTok. But their editing application is quite sophisticated and has a bunch of AI tools built into it. And so if you're building something like a product video, that's the kind of application that you want to work with. So that's, I would say, one of those two. It changes so fast. I can't give you an ironclad recommendation like this is the one. But
Perfect.
you need to kind of make a commitment to the learning curve, at least for a while, on one or the other. And depending on how sophisticated you want to get, FilmSpark is another option. Probably a little bit more expensive, but if you're developing characters that are going to be recurring or something like that, then it really it really helps to have those characters built in. Higgsfield, I think it's called Cinema Studio, as part of their platform, that will also let you just have consistent characters. It doesn't quite have the story structure workflow that FilmSpark has. I hope that helps. I mean, it's a moving target. It's you have to get in and swim around. It's like, that's we all learn by doing. It's just there's no getting around that.
All right, another question about your course from Sundar. Let's say you're interested in creating videos, but don't know what exactly to create. Would the course help, or is this course more for specific people who are in marketing?
No, I love that question, Sundar. Because it's evolving towards the AI over 50 guy, and part of the reason that I structured it is with the personal stuff first. You could work on the personal question of what it is you want to create within that module, if that makes sense. So you say, if you're interested in creating videos but you don't know what to create, that is like that's like the fundamental question in life, right? It's like, what do we really want to create? What's worth creating? What excites us? What turns us on? And that's a kind of a conversation that you could get coaching from AI in in that first part of the course, in order to get some clarity, at least for for the sake of the course, about what you want to try and create then, and know that then down the line it'll be something else, and we all continue to evolve creatively. But that's part of the genius. I don't know if genius of AI is the right way to say it, but part of what is mind blowing to me is that I can talk to AI not just about help me draft an email for this client, but I literally work with my dreams, and my subconscious is becoming more apparent. Or you can work on, I'd like to make a difference in the world, and I'm concerned about this particular issue, and I'm thinking about what would be useful as a video to promote that issue. It could really, it's what are you into? What do you want? But exploring what we want is not a no-brainer. Right? It's like we could struggle with that for a lifetime, and having a good coach can really make a difference. And if you don't want to pay the hundreds or thousands of dollars that it has to have a human coach, AI makes a remarkable substitute, and definitely can help you move the ball down the field. Ultimately, it is on us and our own intuition and our own creativity to make those choices. But it's really good to have a collaborator and a sounding board. And if you haven't done it, I think you'll be amazed at how intelligent something like ChatGPT or Claude can be in those kinds of conversations. I think
Okay, and here's a
does that answer that? Yeah, thank you, Dennis. You're doing a great job.
oh, thank you. We got a follow-up from Sundar. Don't you need a foundation in animation to make good videos?
No, I mean that's what's extraordinary now is that you don't, because the AI can provide the framework. It's and I don't mean to pretend that it's a toaster, like you used the metaphor that I used before. It isn't like, here's a story, give me the output. There is a process in evolving the story, and that's one of the things that why there are different modules, for example, in FilmSpark for those stages of developing it before you get to the storyboard. So there's a methodology for storytelling, and there are whole books about how to tell good stories. So it's not a no-brainer, but the technology that you used to need, like how to do animation, which I think is what you mean by a foundation in animation, that you don't need, because you can literally in these apps take, this is the first frame, and then I want it to morph into this is the last frame. and that's all you do. And then the AI will create the movie that connects those images. So that piece of it is not something you need to go back to school for.
Got it. Another question about the course from Sean. He wants to know, can you register interest in the course but not commit until you pick a time?
Or let me know what you need in terms of time. Maybe, Sean, maybe you want to book one of those one-to-ones. I'll put that link in there. I have no idea what he means. Can we register interest?
Can you put your email address in? Maybe he'll just email you saying, "Oh, save me a spot." I think he basically wants to save a spot until you pick a time, and then maybe he has to check with his schedule.
It's similar to the question that I have. But the question is, when are you going to decide at what time the course is going to be? That's a question.
Well, let's presume it's going to be 10 a.m. Pacific.
Okay, right, because that way
on
we
Tuesdays
can say,
and Thursdays. Does that help? I mean,
absolutely. That's a question.
But you know, if there are 5 people and 3 of them want it at 11, then you know, I'm willing to like switch it up.
And that's his question. If we actually think it's at 10 a.m. and then later you switch it to 1 p.m., you know,
I'm not gonna throw it that far off. But let's
that's
say
the question,
it's at 10 unless there's
Okay.
really a compelling reason to move it.
Got it. Thank you so much.
I'm glad that helps. Yeah, I just want to be flexible as I can, but on the other hand, I know people need to lock down their schedule and figure out if it works with them. And everything will be recorded, and if you're a member of the course, you get recordings of everything also. Any other questions?
I think we have time for one more question if anyone wants to post in the chat or come off mute.
Thank you all for being here. This is awesome.
The recording for this session will be posted on our YouTube channel, and I'll post it in the meetup group. And John will also be sending me the slides.
Yeah, I'll export the slides and send it over to you, Dennis.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, great. Thank you all for being here. I really appreciate it. And again, book a one-on-one if you want to talk about the course, or I look forward to seeing you in the course. Or I love talking, so if you know an organization that's looking for a speaker, I'm available for that. Podcast that want guests, all that kind of good stuff.
All right, and thank you, John.
Really a pleasure. Thanks again.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.